It should tell me. Oh, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Biz Chat with Lisa. Today, my guest is Ashley Tapp from Wandering Charcuterie, and we are going to talk all about her journey. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you.
Um, this episode is brought to you by Perfect Virtual Assistants, where we help you figure out who you need on the back end of your business and find that support for you in the Philippines with virtual assistants at around $8 to $12 an hour. So that is who brings this episode to you. And welcome, Ashley. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. Excited to be here and share my journey.
Yes, we are going to be talking about Ashley's journey. So Ashley has opened the first charcuterie store in the state of Minnesota called Wandering Charcuterie, but that's not everything we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk. So Ashley's been open for how long? 6 months ish?
Yes, officially open November of 25.
So November 25. So, but she, of course, has this journey of how she got to this store. And we are going to talk about that. She has a very interesting story about how she came to open this brick and mortar store. So, Ashley, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to open this store.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was actually a good moment to be invited here because it also, I think on our entrepreneurial journeys, sometimes we get so caught up in just the current moment and the next thing. And I think it can be really powerful to have a look back as well and see what really got you here and what has worked and what hasn't worked as well to prepare you for the future, right?
Right.
And so my career, I didn't see this. If you would ask me 5 years ago, if I was opening the first charcuterie shop of Minnesota, this was not in the plan at all, or even in the bubble. And but I'm so grateful to be here. So a little bit about my history. So I have worked in executive operations for basically my entire career, and a finance background. I was working at a really great company for a long time and just kind of hit a little bit of a ceiling, and I just wanted more. I was trained in EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system, and was hosting a lot of strategic planning sessions. And in being in executive operations, I was always next to the CEO, which was really powerful, I believe, for my career because I got to feel what it feels like to be in that seat, to have everyone's, so much responsibility on you to make the decision and hope that it's the right decision. And if it wasn't the best decision, how do we pivot and move so that we can continue and make better decisions in the future. So I've been a part of a lot of that decision-making moments. And I think that's a big part of what got me here.
I have to comment on that. I mean, I didn't know that about your background. First of all, I do want to talk to you about EOS separately.
Yes.
I've attempted to follow that, but it never really transpired. But what you commented on about being next to that CEO, I mean, the lessons that you must have learned that are invaluable.
Yes, for sure. Both professionally and personally too, because we've always had a very intimate relationship. So as much as it is the professional, it's also the stressful moments. And I'm an Aquarius and I'm an eldest of 4 kids. So I think that that's helped me because I'm very level set. I'm very good under pressure and I can bring others into that, the pressure relief valve that I kind of have with situations. And then I cry in the background by myself, right? Like on the way home.
We all tend to do that by ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
That's funny. Okay, so you hit the ceiling in this and you wanted more.
I did. I wanted to continue to help grow, a company or a CEO or a founder or just, I wanted that kind of next challenge for myself. And I found a bright, shiny next step. I went through a big process of making sure that it's right because I am so close to this person and spending so many hours that we want to make sure it's the right decision. And I'm leaving a very, a secure role and a secure company and a great team. And made that jump. And then it quickly turned into something that I didn't expect it to be. And so it was a pivotal moment in early 2020.
Right before COVID.
And then COVID hit moments after that decision was made as well. So, and I live in South Minneapolis. So it was a little bit of a crazy, moment professionally.
Oh, goodness. Now I know
With
where you're going with that.
Yeah, with leaving the company that I was with and figuring out what my next role was going to be, and then also what are the opportunities, because we didn't know what was happening with everything. And as
That
I
was
was
a scary
researching,
time because that was during COVID and then George Floyd.
yes, and that
Is
was
that
in
what
May.
you were, I'm assuming that's what you were referring to by being in South Minneapolis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that all happened within 3 months of
Right.
each other. So,
Right.
mhm.
Okay.
Yes, and so trying to figure out, with all of this knowledge that I feel that I have with EOS, with strategic planning, with being very forward thinking and being an executor on visionary. I love visionary founders, where they have this big blue ocean, and how close can I help them take the boat to get there, right? I thrive on that. And what else could that career look like? So I got into coaching, business coaching, kind of business consulting, but on the coaching side, and opened a franchise with that. Did that for a few years. So I lost count, to be honest, because it's hard to count audiobooks, but somewhere around the 150 book range on,
Wow.
yes, on self-development, because your company, as a founder of a company, you are going to be at the core of it. So making sure that you're taking care of yourself and growing yourself so that you can kind of disperse that out to the rest of your team.
Super important.
My role in that is to gain as much knowledge and different styles, so that when I'm coaching companies, I can coach for their style, for both their CEO style or their founder style, and for the team that they are going to then need to grow. So I did that for about 3.5, 4 years, and hit a point where wanted to make a transition, from that. And my entire career up till this point, the largest companies that I worked for was 150 employees. I really liked that sitting at the table, pressing the button, kind of relationship with my CEOs and founders, and just with my companies. I've always known everyone in the company. So at this point, I was like, maybe I should try the corporate thing, right? What does it look like to have thousands of employees and staff and teammates and people that I get to meet new people every week. And so then I went in more on the finance side of it, finance operations, into M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Because I figured that now I've worked with small companies, I've worked with, coaching clients that are growing businesses, kind of from that founder zero level up to about $45 million. And now what's that $100 million to $3 billion level? What does that structure look like? And so that seemed kind of like that next real step was going into a larger corporation with, 3,000 to 5,000 employees. And what can I learn from that? So that's when I went into mergers and acquisitions.
And how long did you stay with that?
I was there for about 3 years.
Okay. Was that the last job before the shop? I'm curious. Okay.
It was. Yep.
So you've gone through quite a journey. I love this because I didn't know all this about you, and I love learning people's histories. When did you start the charcuterie cart and doing that? Where in that job with the mergers acquisitions did you start going, charcuterie?
Yeah. Well, I think before even it was charcuterie specifically, it was just that, I wanted to try out the corporate. I wanted to try out the, a larger company and firm, and what can I learn from it? And I learned a ton really quickly on, how are, especially in mergers and acquisitions, how is the team growing and helping alongside the company grow to get to an acquisition point, right? How early are companies bringing them in to get to that point? I just learned so much, that next level of knowledge for myself. I also figured out that when you have that large of a team and you have that many employees in a company, there's a lot more red tape with decisions. And it was a bit difficult for me and my personality when I see inefficiencies or I see opportunities for improvement. It just makes sense, for me and my brain to be like, oh, well, here it is, and let's just do it. We can start that tomorrow. And in big companies, that's not how it
That's not
works.
how it works.
You know,
Yeah.
it has to go through a whole chain of command. And of course, there are also things that I don't know of why we do what we do. And so it just kind of became this spot where I'm so glad that I've tried this and I'm getting this experience. And also, I don't know if this is exactly my long-term thing, because I truly thrive on, you know, sitting at the table and helping make decisions and executing on them next week so we can continue to grow quickly.
Mm-hmm. So you want things done.
Oh, I want
So
things.
you're a get shit done girl.
I am. Yep. Very
I
much
love
so.
it.
Yep.
Okay. So tell us about the next part of your journey here.
And so I think with that, and there wasn't an exact timeline, to be honest. It was just kind of, you know, a realization of these things move a little bit slower than I like to. And do I continue here? Do I look for a different firm? Because I really enjoyed, you know, finance and M&A, maybe a smaller team. Like what could that kind of look like? And then charcuterie came up, where I had friends from multiple different like friend groups through social media send me this charcuterie cart, either at events or in Vegas. There's one down in Arizona, and they're like, oh, look at this. This is cool. This is cool. And I'm like, it is cool, but why are you sending it to me?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So then it just sparked something, of course, because I'm a researcher. So I'm like, okay, well, do we have one in Minnesota? What does this look like? It's not a food truck, but you're dealing with meat and cheese, which is kind of a higher risk, you know, food. So you know, I'm just curious, what could that look like? And come to find out, there wasn't anything really active in Minnesota in the surrounding area. And you know, what could this look like? You know, conversation of possibilities, kind of with myself. And then fast forward doing some of that research, then my sister was opening her own business. So she owns a eyebrow bar, and now it's a full beauty bar. She's transitioned a lot in a few years, growing that business. But she was having a grand opening and asked if I could do the food for it, charcuterie. And I was like, I can for sure, you know. And I had done a few practice ones. I mean, that's kind of how I ate, because I'm always running so fast and doing so many things that I like to eat small bites. But they're not always pretty, right? You just kind of put some meat and cheese and some crackers on a plate and go with it. And so when that request came in, I just kind of was a little bit more conscious about, okay, well, how can I style this? And started to look at like Pinterest in different areas and research, how do you make a pepperoni rose, right? How do you make those triangles that look kind of cute on the board? And so fast forward, did the charcuterie for her event, and then officially booked my first holiday party spread from that event, just through word of mouth, which was amazing. And then it was like, wait, so someone wants to pay me for this, and I don't have a bank account to deposit that check, because, you know, I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants of like, maybe this is a good idea or not. And then all of a sudden it became real. So that was really the pivotal moment of like, okay, so I think I have something here that could turn into something truly just on the side. So maybe I can stay within my M&A role. I really enjoyed my team and what I was doing on my day to day. But then have this kind of outlet in the evenings and the weekends. And I really love being a part of people's celebrations. So whether that's grand openings or their holiday party, or their weddings and these kinds of things, like getting an invite to that was like, that's an absolute honor to me. I don't take that very lightly. And I think with my operations background and my GSD, my getting shit done girl attitude, I'm very much like, because I don't take that lightly, I make sure that it's scheduled. I make sure that, you know, the bride, like you have so many things going on that day, and the bride and groom, I don't want them to have to worry about their cocktail hour food. So I take a real point in over communicating and making sure that that's not what they have to worry about that day, that they're just focused on their, you know, getting married and having their special day.
I love that. So I'm curious about that Christmas party. Did you get an order from that Christmas party?
I'm sure that I have.
The word of mouth spread. Was it just those, because that was just those two events, and then people started calling?
Well, then I think, I mean, gosh, so much has happened since then. It's hard to like to pinpoint exactly, but I believe that we booked that in August or September, and the party was in December. And so then I needed to perfect my technique. I kind of said yes with the, okay, I'll figure it out by the time it gets here. And then I just started to do a little light advertising on Facebook Marketplace, because we all go on Facebook Marketplace and buy random things. I was like, maybe I can advertise on there. So I made some boards, posted some photos and pictures, and then things just started to roll in, of people just wanting to do charcuterie boards. And so I was able to perfect it and get clients between that, booking that moment and the end of the year.
So what I love about this is it's really the entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, it's just not a random person, but one of your friends sent you a charcuterie cart thing. I'm assuming you still have a relationship and you thanked her for where you are because of this random thing. And then you went with it and you learned along the way. So I want to talk about some lessons that you learned. Well, we need to get to the point. We need to get to the point of the store, because I had met you just before your store front opened. I think like a month or two.
Yeah.
And I remember when you quit your job and when you did that. So I kind of want you to talk about that and how that was for you. When you made the decision, this can be profitable, I can now quit my job, because that's a big ass deal.
Oh yeah. Yes. And it was not in the plan at all. I mean, even when I was doing a little marketing for this and preparing for the holiday party and then getting booked for weddings and things, it was still just so, well, the wedding's on Saturday or the wedding's on Sunday, and I can manage my full-time role and this. Like, it was never part of the plan to actually quit my job. I really figured that I would maybe transition from this job to another job, and still charcuterie was going to be completely part-time kind of thing.
Isn't it funny how things transpire?
Yes.
You just never know. You got to take it as it comes to you. You got to be open.
Yes, you do. And that's what I definitely did.
That is a lesson, I think, right there. You have got to be open and see the opportunities around you.
Yes, you have to
never know where they're going to take you.
Exactly. Yeah. And a little bit of that, like, just say yes, because why not, right?
Well, very good. Just say yes.
Just say yes. Just go with it, And so fast forward a little bit, getting a lot of bookings through Facebook Marketplace and social media. I didn't really know what to do with I know hashtags, and I know, some obviously some of the marketing things, but I wasn't putting a lot of effort into it because I was working full time. And my job was very, it wasn't an easy job. It's mergers and acquisitions. So I was working during the day, and truly having, getting to work on this at night. But it just kind of kept, more bookings and more bookings and more bookings. And just really got to the point where I was truly working 26 hours a day. I was working my full-time role, coming home, going to my commercial kitchen, working till, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting a few hours of sleep quickly so I can perform at my full-time job, and doing it again and again and again, day after day, and all the weekends, because the big events are on the weekends. So during the week, it's kind of preparing for that and then executing on the weekends. And there was just really, really no break. And then also from my previous role within my coaching firm was networking. I'm a natural networker too. I mean, I figure people, I like to sell myself as well, because, of course, there's more charcuterie companies in the Twin Cities area, and we all have our different ways that we do things. And I also want to be out in the market and making those relationships and those bigger relationships. So networking was always on my list of, okay, if I'm going to start a company and do something, I should also be networking.
Which is where we met. We met through a networking event. Yeah,
exactly, through networking. And that's where I met someone else in networking, and we met at an event, and we scheduled a one-to-one for a couple weeks later, had that one-to-one, 2.5 hours into the conversation. And at the end of the conversation, as we're truly like starting to get our coats on to pack up and leave, it was a little almost like extra conversation of, oh, by the way, I know a lady who owns a cookie shop, and I think she's looking for someone to share her space with her because she's moving. Would that be an interesting connection? I was like, oh, well, again, just say yes.
Wow.
Like, yes, of course I want to have that conversation. No clue what that could turn into. Maybe I just, when I'm booking weddings and I need cookies for it, this could be a great contact, right? Had no
Sure.
clue that this actual introduction would be the one that would change my life.
Okay. Change your life. Keep
Yeah,
talking. It changed your life. So what
it did.
happened? What happened?
So she gave me the contact, and I don't even think she gave me the contact. I think she just connected us right then, because sometimes I think when we get those connections and, maybe there's, the universe or whatever knows that there's potential in them, that sometimes we're like, oh, well, maybe I just won't text her because this could turn into something. And I already had a business and I left that business. So I don't know if I want to do this again. So I'm just not going to message, because then I don't have to say no. Right? Because I want to say yes, but what if I'm presented with it and then I have to say no, and I don't want to say no, right? What could that look like? So I'm grateful for this.
Too much in your head. That's too
Totally
much in your head.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
all do it.
So I believe she just messaged us and like connected us that way. And then we took the conversation and met, a week or two later in person and chatted about the space, looked at it, talked about, conversation of possibilities. And then it was that moment. It was that moment of like, wait, so all of these things had to come together for this exact conversation to happen.
Yeah.
Conversation went, even better than I could have expected. And now I'm presented with that yes or no. And again, we come back to that. What do I say? I can say no. I have full will to say no to this. And also, I could just say yes. And what would that look like if I just said yes?
Oh, wow.
And in my head, it was that emotional moment of like, well, I said yes before, and I made these transitions before in my like coaching business and leaving my my really great previous role, my previous job, and my comfort, right? I mean, like we all like comfort and security. And then I think I was pushed a bit with, the COVID time and George Floyd time and all of that. And it was just that pivotal moment and the bigger picture of like, okay, well, if I say yes to opening a shop, I no longer can manage working my full-time secure job and having a charcuterie shop. Am I ready for that? Absolutely not. And also, this opportunity is here for a reason.
For sure.
Right. And so I took a good like week just to mull it over. And, I'm a pros and cons girl, right? So I've got my little lists out and I'm reviewing that every night. And here's all the pros and here's all the cons. And then here's all the things that I don't even know that's on this list that has nothing underneath of it, because it's the unknown.
Sure.
Right? Because this is, kind of the first charcuterie shop of Minnesota where people can walk in and grab a charcuterie lunchbox to go. That's not real. That's not out there. I have no other measurement of, I can't call someone else in the Minnesota market and say, hey, so how did you do this?
Yeah.
So I can see how we could work together and have another location, or just all of those different things that wasn't even available. So it was the pros, it was the cons, and it was the just complete unknown. And then coming back to but I have faith in myself too, right?
Yes.
So what could that look like? And then I made the decision over a glass of wine. I was like, okay, am I doing this? I'm doing this. Holy cow.
You can say holy shit too. Okay.
Holy shit. Yes, kid friendly. Holy shit, I'm doing this. Let's do it. All right. And then
Awesome.
I did it. And I put in my and I think that's kind of around where we met, was within
Yes.
all of these different things going on. And then I put in my notice on a Wednesday, and 2 weeks later I was full-time into the shop.
And it's kind of funny because on those 2 Wednesdays, I happened to be at networking events with Ashley.
Yes.
And I was hosting an event with other women, you provided the charcuterie and you got up there and talked about giving your notice that day in front of a group of a bunch of women, which I know was special for me just to be there and see you and watch you do that. And then the 2 weeks later at another AGC event where you got up and said it was the last day of your job. And again, I was special. I felt special being there because it was such a big deal.
Yeah, it was huge. And I'm so glad that first event, the women's event, was not on camera because I unexpectedly got very emotional. And I think that's important too, as entrepreneurs and as we're going through this journey, and as women too. And I'm sure men go through this as well, but I can only speak to my own experience with myself and other women entrepreneurs around me, is that sometimes we just feel like we can't have emotions, and that we've got to just go. And the expectation is you just do it and just go hard, and that hustle culture idea. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that it is okay to feel the good, feel the bad, feel the in between. And on that particular day, when you brought me up on stage, I'm like, well, here it is. This is the human side of making a life-changing decision.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it was great being part of that and seeing that. So now I know you have a delivery to make, so we have to wrap up soon, but I want you to tell everybody about your store, where it is. We're going to have all the information in the notes in the comment section on where you can reach out and do an order. But tell us where your store is and how people can get in touch with you.
Yes. So the company is Wandering Charcuterie, because we wander to all of the events. Shop is located in Edina, right off of 169 and Bren Road, Londonderry Road there. We're open most days 10 to 2, but a lot of it is also by order. So always feel free to email or call before you come for a lunchbox. Otherwise, we're Wandering Charcuterie MN on the web and all socials.
Well, thank you for sharing your journey with us. I really appreciate you being it. Best of luck. I know, and I'm assuming business is good.
Yes, business is insane. Yes.
Yay!
So
business is insane. Gonna have to start talking about hiring more people and opening a second store.
Yes, exactly. There are some things in the works, so
there are.
Stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Have a great day, everyone.